All right, Skinny, if you look at Jackson Carman, you couldn't tell. There's something different about him just by the look of him, and he says that offseason program has really worked for him. They got at least 4 guys ticketed for right tackle. How would you put the hierarchy?
By the way, I'd love to see him in that top flight gymnastics class. He's got to be the biggest gymnast ever in that class, by the way. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm going to take La'el Collins out of the mix just because we don't know the return, but it's fair to put him in the mix. But actually, there's still 4 other than him, too. I got to go Jonah number 1. He's not been dealt yet. They keep talking in terms of he's the guy. Jackson's been the guy they've talked highly of, and I think they want Jackson to be able to compete for this. He's going to probably hit the ground running in OTAs and whatnot with no Jonah there. Then I'd go Cody Formakeem is the same guy. I mean, I think they both make the club because Cody can give you some inside. He and Max Sharping will probably be your inside guys and your swing guys and all that. Hakeem can play a little bit inside. So they do have a lot of flexibility with those guys. But I think I'd go Jonah, Jackson, and then from there, not so sure yet. And then what do you do with La'el when he comes back?
With your insider intuition, is Jonah on the team when the season opens in September?
If you can let me know if some other team is going to suffer a catastrophic injury at tackle, I could give you that answer, because it is a great question, and I think that's the $64,000 question. I felt like draft weekend might be the weekend, right, where a team doesn't land the tackle it wanted, and it says, okay, but our fallback plan is a 4th-round pick this year and something next year consideration-wise for Jonah, and the Bengals would say, yes, let's get him off the books, and we're good with that. We'll start the season with Jackson Carman. Hope La'el comes back shortly. In fact, they didn't move him. The fact there hasn't been any real movement with this, I think you're going to get to the camp portion of this where some other team's going to have to suffer a catastrophic injury, and then the Bengals actually have some leverage to make that kind of a move. But to this point, they all keep talking about they want to be the right tackle, and I think they think that's their best plan of attack moving forward for right now this season. They've committed the $12.6 million. Now, certainly extensions can change all of those things as far as their leverage goes, but I'm going to say right now, barring that injury, he's on the roster. He's the opening day right tackle.
Well, the other thing we need to see is maybe he was meant to be a right tackle in the NFL.
Right. No,
maybe he excels and he's got a little chip on his shoulder.
And Gary, to that point, I get why he wants the trade, right? Left tackles get paid. Well, right tackles are starting to get paid. The gap isn't as wide as it used to be. If you proved yourself to be an elite right tackle now in this league, you're going to get paid accordingly. You're not going to ever get paid left tackle money, and I get that's what you want, but if you become an elite right tackle when you were not an elite left tackle and you're still going to get paid, take it and run with it. He's going to do that. I know people are worrying their hands off. What if he doesn't show? Listen, he's got $12.6 million guaranteed reasons to show up and do his job and get paid moving forward. You've been around him enough. He's a pro. Yeah. We all understand this portion of the program. We watch it with Jesse. Oh, will Jesse ever come? Yes, Jesse's going to come. Jesse came. He saw. He signed. He played well, and then he got paid.
He may play better than ever because he comes from a proud background in Alabama. All right, now this is rookie minicamp at the end of the week. How many of these guys, they picked 8 through their 7 rounds, how many of these guys, if any, are going to have a chance at least to start?
Well, somebody threw a question at me, set the over-under of 20 starts, and I said, I'll take the over, and I said, are we counting the punter? That's 17. The punter doesn't start, right? He's just in the lineup. So Brad Robbins obviously has got a great chance to beat out Drew Chrisman, but talking to Drew the other day, I think Drew's embracing the competition.
If he can get some hang time.
If he can get some hang time and fix the directional stuff, he's certainly got a huge leg. That part's not in question. Listen, I think the part of it is remember last year Cam Taylor-Britt was kind of an afterthought for a while until he wasn't an afterthought. And then he plugged in for Eli on a night when Eli was hurt. And then Shinobi got hurt, and then voila, he's the starter the rest of the year. That's probably going to happen at some point. I hope it doesn't. They hope it doesn't. Safety right now, you're really thin behind what you hope are the 2 starters in Nick Scott and Dax Hill. Not because I don't believe in Tyson Anderson. I've never seen him play a regular season game. Michael Thomas is better served as a special teams guy. Jordan Battle, he's one injury away, or maybe he's training camp playing well away from maybe wrestling a starting job away. I think Miles Murphy's probably not going to start barring an injury, but in the rotational basis, he's going to play a lot. So I think these guys are all going to get, Charlie Jones is going to get significant snaps as a 4th wide receiver and certainly as a punt returner. Right. So they're all going to play this year with an eye on next year. Literally, you're probably going to have at least 3 of your first 4 picks, maybe all 4 of your first 4 picks, maybe all 5 of your first 5 picks being in the starting lineup.
Even if they live up to expectations, they are not Bates and Bell in the safety position. How do you expect teams to maybe change their attack of the Bengals? It's
a great question, and I've answered that a couple ways from a couple radio interviews I've done. They're safeties for a reason, right? They're the last line of defense, and it's the line. It's not a line that's an afterthought because really, I mean, Ed Reed was as great as they come, and so I don't want to put Ed Reed in. He's in his own category.
Yeah.
And Vaughn and Jesse were really good players back there, great communicators. They could disguise stuff because they played so long together. That part's probably gone. But I know talking to Lou Anarumo, when they re-signed Jermaine Pratt, He said now it's not the conversation coming from safety down, it's Jermaine's conversation going back to those guys, and that was important to them to at least have that level of communication down. There's going to be some rough patches. You know there are. You're probably not going to be able to do some of the things where Vaughn could walk in the box late and Jesse could sprint back out and play center field and vice versa. You're probably not going to have that off the bat. But I think if you're trying to mask any position group, and you've got literally what amounts to 9 starters back, I'm counting Jadobi for Eli in that 9th starter. Your front 9 starters are all back. And I'm having to worry about safety. I'll worry. I'm okay with worrying about that.
What can we tell from rookie minicamp, if anything?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Other than what does a guy come in
healthy?
I mean, do we watch Miles Murphy just run like the wind and go, ooh, wow, the athleticism is there? Do we watch maybe a play where, again, because you really can't do a whole lot, where we watch Jordan Battle flash, or we watch DJ Turner run with a receiver? So probably not much. Because you're also bringing in some other guys as tryout guys, et cetera, and usually those quarterbacks aren't high on the list. Drew Plitt came in last year and actually did pretty well.
That's right.
Got a little bit of a training camp cup of coffee out of it, but probably not much other than just watching some of that athleticism on display.
All right, Skinny, we're talking about a back-to-back division champ in the Bengals who have gone to the AFC Championship game back-to-back. When we talk about the Reds, we're talking about a team trying to get out of the wooden spoon of Major League Baseball. Tyler Stevenson hit his first home run. Of course, they were all solo shots on Sunday. What's it going to take for – because I think that's a huge part of the problem offensively. With a team – they're playing a great American ballpark.
Yes. It is a huge part of the problem. I mean, they were on an epic pace for guys individually not hitting homers, matched by the 82 team and not hitting homers, especially individually. Maybe this is the first step for Tyler Stevenson. Maybe it's just a weird anomaly of 2 games before he hit his first. I don't know if it is or isn't, because if you start looking back, even last year the power numbers were a little not there. And the part that makes him elite, in theory, is even if he doesn't hit home runs, he's an elite hitting catcher. He's not an elite hitting DH. He's not an elite hitting first baseman. I get what they're doing. I want to get through this year healthy. This year means nothing other than development of guys. But the whole power thing is really, really weird. Coming into today, when you look that TJ Friedl was tied for the team lead in home runs and led this team in RBIs, kudos to TJ Friedl. He's been great. He's been one of the real bright spots in this team.
Absolutely.
But he shouldn't be tied for your team lead in home runs and your leader in RBIs this, I don't want to say late in the season, but at this point of the season, you're a fifth of the way, almost a fourth of the way done with the thing, for goodness sakes.
And Vossler's still tied for the team lead. He hasn't played in a month.
He hasn't played in a month, and Nick Senzel didn't play for the first couple of weeks, and he's tied for that lead,
and
too.
India got there with his home run that led off the game.
And he's the leadoff guy, so yeah.
I've been wondering this all along. I guess if you thought maybe you had a chance to be a wild card team or something, there'd be a reason to have Kevin Newman on this team. How much longer do you keep guys like that on this squad when you've got this wealth of talent just going nuts. in AA and AAA?
That's the thing. They're all going nuts. Ellie De La Cruz probably the lesser of the thing, but he's been the latest to come back. Needs some more time. I agree with that. Matt McClain is going nuts. Encarnacion Strand's going nuts. The Hopkins kid they drafted a few years ago in the 9th round out of South Carolina. Now he's a little bit older. He's going nuts. And the thing for me at this point would be, you don't have to worry about service time, any of that kind of stuff. You are at the stage of, is this going to take the place of a guy whose at-bats matter? Right now, does it matter at first base? If Joey Votto was here, then it might matter, but he's not here, and we don't know if he'll ever be here again. So does that matter? Can you put Encarnacion Strand there and let's see what he's got? And I know people will say, well, don't rush him, and that's fine. If you think it's going to take another 2 or 3 weeks of sample size in the minors, I would say this. Go look at Encarnacion Strand since he's been in the minors, not just this year. That cat has raked from day one, and at that point you just go, hey, time to go. Listen, Washington brought up Juan Soto at age 19, and I'm not putting him in Juan Soto's category, mind you, but when guys are ready, they're ready. Other than he doesn't walk a lot, and there's a little high strikeout rate, which some of these guys...
Most everyone has that anymore.
But you look at every other number, from batting average to on base to slugging to RBIs to runs scored. He can steal you a base. I think he got 10, 12 steals over the course of what would be a full season. McClain kind of the same way. McClain kind of developed late at UCLA, and if you look, didn't completely rake right away, but if you look at his career minor league numbers across the board OPS-wise, I think he's a career 900 OPS and what it would amount to about a full season of baseball, about 600 plate appearances. Are you holding back Jose Barrera? Have we seen enough there? Or do you not believe that Matt McClain's a shortstop moving forward? If you don't believe that, which is fine, and maybe you don't, because
Ellie's kind of stuck because India's at second.
Right, well, but then let's start playing Matt McClain somewhere else in the minors to see what you got. Can he play third? Can he play the outfield? There's a belief that India's long-term position is probably somewhere in the outfield. You start moving that around. You know, you have to find a way now for these bats. And listen, again, if you think, hey, give me 2 more weeks, let's see if this is like a hot streak or is this kind of where the sample size is settled, I'm fine with that. But after that, at that point, if these guys are still raking, you can't not bring them up. I mean, we're not talking about 18-year-old kids that, oh, God, I hope he doesn't fail. No, they've done enough. They've played a lot of baseball to the point now where it's time to see.
That side looks pretty good, especially coming up from the minors. We do have Abbott, who's one of the best pitchers in minor league baseball this year, already been escalated to AAA, but the pitching otherwise, and he moved, the Luis Cessa move to the bullpen was overdue.
No question.
But now what do you do in 4 and 5?
Do you go back to the opener? It's a great question. I mean, maybe they do go to the opener route.
Luke Bailey's been pitching pretty good.
he's really good. 17-4 blowouts. Yes, he is. He's really good in those. I do wonder if you have to do something unique and different, because really outside of Abbott, Ben Lively's pitched pretty good down in AAA, but he's, 29, 30 years old. Maybe he deserves a shot, and that's fine. Give him another shot. He's dealt with some arm stuff, but he has started some big league games. Maybe he's the guy. I think to your point about Abbott, I don't think we're quite there yet, but it's got to be close. I mean, he's almost 24 years old. No knock, but he was a college pitcher. You drafted him high. He's done nothing but stand out in the minors. You moved him quickly from Chattanooga this year, where he's averaging about 2.5 strikeouts an inning. I think it was some absurd number.
Right.
Dominated his first 2 starts in Louisville. Again, I'll give you the small sample size portion of that, but I think you're closing in on, let's see what we got in this kid at this point, because other than that, it's Williamson, and honestly, I mean, I don't know if he's still hurt, but the numbers are really bad. He's really struggled down there. I'm not sure where else you turn at this point. One thing is, the bullpen has kind of sorted itself out. I know today, that sounds stupid, today was a bad day for the bullpen. For the most part, they've kind of sorted themselves out, and you're going to give Lodolo, Ashcraft, and Green every start that you can give them, and they're going to hit some rocky bumps in the road.
How concerned should we be about Nick Lodolo?
2 more starts, I might get a little concerned, but
that'll be like 5 bad ones in a row.
Gary, I can still, as I've told you, I went to the Masters this year, and unfortunately we were going to play golf the Saturday of the Masters, and we ended up getting rained out. So I watched that start. Somehow we got Valley Sports Ohio in Columbia, South Carolina, but I watched that start against the Phillies that day where he dominated it was the day Diaz blew the save because he had to pitch 2 innings. And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy is not only taking a step forward, he is bona fide stud. And then from that point forward, it's kind of gone backwards. Hopefully they figure it out. I know they talked about they found something mechanical in his last start, and they thought they could work some of that out. I'm not there yet. He didn't get blown up last night. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. Ashcraft today was certainly not good, but I think with these young guys, you keep rolling them out there, and they're going to hit some rocky starts. But if you give me 25 of 32 starts that are really good, I think I'm going to take that and run to next year with that group.